Subaru just pulled the pin on a lineup that's about to rattle the cages of every big name in the automotive game. From an all-electric Crosstrek Hybrid to a turbocharged hybrid Outback, 2026 is shaping up to be the year Subaru stops playing nice. Hello everyone, this is Scott from CarlandTV. It's time to hop in the front seat because today, we're taking a closer look at Subaru's 2026 newcomers. And trust me, these aren't just refreshes. They're thoughtful upgrades that hit right where the market's heading. Before I start, I would really appreciate it if you would push those buttons below. The subscribe button, the notification bell, all of them. This is not necessary, but those little clicks help a brother out. Plus, it pushes me to give you more valuable car-related content on your screen. Now, buckle up, and let's get back to the video. 2026 Subaru Outback. When I think about what Subaru does best, the Outback is the first name that comes to mind. And the 2026 model doesn't just stay in its lane, it doubles down. What you're looking at is a full-on redesign that leans harder into the off-road wagon formula Subaru practically invented 30 years ago, but now it does it with a smarter interior, more cargo space, and updated drivetrains that make it way more competitive in today's SUV-heavy market. The new, more upright stance doesn't just look tough. It opens up room for 3-5 cubic feet of cargo, adds better roof load ratings, and brings that raised ride height to real-world use. And for folks who live out of their car on the weekends, those 800-pound static roof rails and 220-pound dynamic rating are more than spec sheet flex. They're practical. What stood out to me personally was how intuitive the redesigned cabin feels. Subaru went with a 12.1-inch touchscreen for all trims, but wisely brought back physical climate buttons, something you'll appreciate when you're wearing gloves in the cold. The 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster is clean, customizable, and actually useful for navigation. And if you're clocking serious highway miles, the new low-fatigue seats are a real improvement. Add in EyeSight's latest updates, including hands-free highway assist and emergency stop features. And it's clear this isn't just another refresh. Between the Wilderness trim's serious off-road chops and the overall refinement across the lineup, the 2026 Outback feels like a flagship, without needing to shout about it. Next up, 2026 Forester Wilderness. I've spent enough time around off-road rigs to know when something's been built with intention, and the 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness checks that box straight out of the gate. This isn't just a cosmetic badge or some plastic cladding slapped on a commuter SUV. Subaru dug in and gave this thing mechanical upgrades where it matters, starting with a new transmission cooler that boosts towing to 3,500 pounds. That's a big deal if you're pulling a trailer up into the mountains. They also widened the tires to 235/2 and lifted the suspension slightly, not with tires but with longer springs and shocks for a legit 9.3 inches of clearance. That's paired with a revised approach and breakover angles, which means fewer crunches and more confidence on rutted trails or sharp terrain transitions. The CVT also gets a shorter final drive, which helps when crawling through rocks or deep snow. The drivetrain's the same proven 2.5-liter Boxer 4, making 180 horsepower and 178 pound-feet, which is modest, but with that lower gearing and quicker center differential lock from the 2025 update, the thing still feels capable when you're off pavement. It's the little things that stand out, like a temp sensor on the rear diff or the copper accenting, that gives it a purpose-built feel without being flashy. Inside, you get StarTech synthetic leather, the new 12.3-inch digital cluster, and Wilderness graphics baked into the system. Subaru didn't overdo it. They focused on actual functionality, which makes this Forester Wilderness one of the most complete trail-ready compacts you can buy under 40 grand. This time, let's check Subaru's brand new full-time EV. 2026 Subaru Uncharted. You look at the 2026 Subaru Uncharted and think, this doesn't feel like a shared platform Toyota clone, and that's exactly what makes it interesting. Sure, it's built on the same bones as the upcoming CHR EV, but Subaru went out of its way to give this thing some real identity. First off, the looks are sharp. The front fascia has that signature blocky Subaru edge, with vertical DRLs and a front bumper that leans more trail-ready than an urban pod. And it's not just a styling exercise. The Uncharted gets standard features most brands nickel and dime you for. Heated seats, wiper de-icer, and even EyeSight with driver focus across the board. Under the skin, it's packing some solid firepower. Base models get a 221 HP motor and front-wheel drive, with over 300 miles of range. Step up to the Sport or GT, and you're looking at a dual-motor AWD setup pushing 338 horsepower and sub-5 seconds 0 to 60. Range on those is still a respectable 290 miles. Subaru added its own flavor too, with tuned suspension and an off-road X-mode setup that actually works, not just a screen icon. And with NACS compatibility, you can plug into Tesla superchargers right out of the gate. Inside, it feels thought out, not flashy, just smart. You get dual wireless phone chargers, physical knobs where it counts, and trim that leans more backcountry than showroom. Subaru's playing the long game here, and the Uncharted shows they're dead serious about carving out EV territory with real-world usability and just enough grit to stay true to the badge. 2026 Subaru Crosstrek Hybrid. I've been saying this for years. Give the Crosstrek more power and better mileage, and it'd instantly shoot up the list of best small crossovers. Subaru finally did both. For 2026, not only does every Crosstrek now come standard with the stronger 2.5-liter Boxer 4, but Subaru finally brought in a proper hybrid variant. And we're not talking about a weak sauce plug-in with barely enough EV range to finish a grocery run. This hybrid integrates with the 2.5 to deliver improved power, smoother response, and fuel efficiency in the mid-30-second, right where it needs to be for folks balancing daily commutes with weekend trips to the trailhead. It's available in the Sport Hybrid and Limited Hybrid trims. And yeah, they're priced around $35,000 to $36,000. But considering you're getting all-wheel drive, a hybrid system, and serious real-world utility, it's a solid deal. Subaru didn't just drop in a battery and walk away. The hybrid Crosstrek still rides with that rugged DNA, ladder-style roof rails, 8.7 inches of ground clearance, and EyeSight safety tech standard. You've got LED headlights, dual-zone climate, and Subaru's smart approach to infotainment. The Premium gives you a big 11.6-inch touchscreen, while the Sport and Limited trims layer in nice touches like wireless charging, upgraded cloth or leather, and contrast stitching that doesn't feel like an afterthought. It's worth noting that the hybrid isn't available on the Wilderness model, but for anyone who values a smoother ride and better mileage without giving up traction or practicality, this new hybrid is the Crosstrek we've been waiting for years. The next one is when you can say, "Damn, this is nice." 2026 Subaru Solterra. If you've written off the Subaru Solterra because of its early range and charging flaws, the 2026 refresh is your cue to take another look. Subaru took all the hits from the original model and came back with something much closer to what EV buyers in the real world actually want. This time around, you get up to 285 miles of range, faster DC charging up to 150 kilowatts, and a NACS port that gives you access to Tesla's supercharger network. That's a big swing in usability. The battery size has nudged up to 75 kilowatt-hour, and it now includes preconditioning so you're not stuck twiddling your thumbs on cold mornings waiting for things to warm up. They also sharpened up the drivetrain. Standard output now sits at 233 horsepower, and if you opt for the new XT trim, you're looking at 338 horsepower and a sub-5-second 0 to 60 time. You still get Subaru's dual-motor all-wheel drive and the full X-Mode suite, with snow, dirt, deep snow, mud, grip control, and downhill assist all included. Suspension and steering have been retuned for better on-road response, and it's noticeable when you're hustling it through curves or dealing with uneven pavement. Inside, it finally feels like it belongs in this price bracket. A big 14-inch touchscreen sits front and center, flanked by wireless charging pads, and plenty of USB-C ports for rear passengers. It's not flashy, but it's clean, tech-focused, and laid out with intent. Add in 64 cubic feet of cargo space and Subaru's safety tech suite, and this thing becomes a real contender, and not just Subaru's EV experiment. And finally, 2026 Subaru Trailseeker. Some SUVs feel like they're made for a showroom floor. The 2026 Subaru Trailseeker feels like it was designed with dirt, snow, and camping gear in mind, then refined just enough to live with every day. Subaru is expanding its electric lineup here, and they didn't just stretch the Solterra and slap on a new badge. This thing is bigger, faster, and built with more real-world utility baked in. I mean, 375 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of 4.3 seconds in a Subaru-branded EV? That's a whole different kind of performance for a company, better known for grit than straight-line speed. It's still dual-motor and all-wheel drive only, with Subaru's tried-and-true X-Mode, but now you get more refined off-road tuning and a longer, taller body for increased cargo capacity. They even gave it a towing rating of 3,500 pounds, which puts it in line with more traditional crossovers like the Outback Wilderness. The Trailseeker's fast-charging setup caps at 150 kilowatts, which isn't class-leading, but Subaru added battery preconditioning and a standard NACS port, so it'll play nice with Tesla superchargers. Range is expected around 260 miles, which isn't headline-grabbing, but it's good enough if you're the kind of driver who mixes in-town use with regular weekend getaways. The cabin brings a 14-inch touchscreen, dual wireless chargers, USB-Cs in the rear, and a 120-volt outlet in the cargo area, or stuff you'd actually use. It doesn't scream luxury or scream off-road. It just balances both well enough to make this one of Subaru's most complete EVs to date.